we have a spicy fireside chat moderated by our very own Ruthie, interviewing Jared Robin on how he built the RevGenius community. Can I get my people up here on stage with me? Yes, yes. Ruthie,
Hi.
it's all you.
Yay. Thank you so much, Vicky. And here we are, day two, almost the end of day two. I am so excited. I hope you're all enjoying. I know it's impossible to choose a favorite session because there have been so many incredible ones, but this will be your favorite because I'm here with Jared Robin. He is the founder of RevGenius, the most prolific community in the go-to-market world with over 41,000 people. Sorry, I have to post for you. And listen, we want to hear about how you did it. So, Jared, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came up with RevGenius?
First off, Ruthie is the starter of a community for a unicorn from nothing to something. I should be interviewing you today, but I guess I got lucky on the coin flip. So this is quite an honor to be with you. I started RevGenius because I didn't have a job. Frankly, my story is I did really well in my 20s from like a sales account executive perspective. My 30s, I tried to go into tech early stage, and that is where things fell out. I lost 3 jobs over the next 5 to 8 years, either getting fired or laid off. I had some success as well. But it helped me really empathize with the seller and the person going through the space. It was like pretty mediocre of an experience. Found myself before COVID, jobless again. I think that one was my
That's time to
fault.
be jobless.
Yeah. So like my interviews went from like 12 a week to like non-existent very fast. So I started I'm like, let's do this LinkedIn thing. I've been watching Justin Welsh. Shout out to him. He builds wonderful audiences and now helps people become creators. And I'm like, okay, let's lean in. And I'm like, I want to learn all I can. Now I have time to get a job. And one thing turned to the other. And I started putting other folks I've been seeing around LinkedIn in a DM group. And there was like the 4 musketeers to start. And I'm just like, let's invite others in. Only 2 requirements. They're kind of in our space and they're a vibe, like that subjective connection.
Love them.
But like, if you know, one thing led to another. And I was still trying to get a job, and we got the group to 25. It like broke everybody's LinkedIn app every day because people were talking so damn much. They forced me to go to Slack, listen to the members, and realized the gap in the space. There wasn't an open, inclusive, no cost community for everyone, which I thought was really damn important, because how can you level up a full space if you don't give everybody a chance to come in? So make it as easy as possible, I should say. So we did it, and we've had good success. And along the way, I hired myself. I was still looking for a job, right, Ruthie? And what happened was I had 2 recruiters that I love tell me to stop interviewing and to do this full time. And I was just like, fuck, I have no money. Thank you, unemployment, for helping me eat.
How many people were you? Like, how many people were in the community already at that point?
We were probably 5 to 10,000 before,
Insane.
like probably about 3 to 5,000 when they told me to stop interviewing, and probably closer to 10,000 when I was able to hire myself.
Incredible. And you were able to hire yourself through, like, RevGenius isn't a paid membership community. So how were you able to hire yourself?
Yeah, we have some spectacular sponsors that align with our mission. Our mission is to build trusted spaces for GTM professionals who are collaborating on the future of go-to-market.
Your favorite word.
It's the truth, right? Like what separates community from anything else? It's the collaboration or the engagement, whatever word you want, with one another. But
Exactly.
collaboration feels like you're going towards a purpose versus just talking.
So we're all curious to know, what are some of the, like, you went through quite the journey from unemployment to prolific community leader. What are some of the lessons that you've gleaned throughout your community building journey? And do you think that's influenced your leadership style or strategy for building community?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the lessons I've learned to always listen and more specifically to ask. Well, to do both, right? Because asking is super important, but if you're not listening like to what's being said when you're not asking, because sometimes people might give you what they think you want to hear, but when you're listening in the community but also the space, right? Like listening onto social, like I'm hearing this stuff, but maybe I'm not asking the right people, or maybe the people that are engaged
Yeah.
aren't the people I need to speak to. I need to speak to the people that aren't engaged, and they're talking over here, so I need to listen to them so that I could get them engaged or come up with some hypotheses to test. So like that's big. The biggest lesson that I had was, don't just build community to build community to solve a problem, because that really creates like a movement. Um, I want to build a sales community. Why? My company needs more clients. Yeah, I mean, great. Build a newsletter or something. like, um, like what specifically in sales is there a gap that you could help people solve? Because then taking that, it's easier to rally. And also, passion will get you far, man. Like if you're passionate about this, people will, forgive some of the minor hiccups along the way, and they'll be like, "Yo, he kind of mucked up there, but fuck, I'll follow that guy to God knows where reasonably."
To 41,000 people. That's where they'll follow you.
41,000 people. He's launching something new. I don't know what it is, but I want to be in. Said all the people in my newsletter.
Oh yeah. You can name drop your
I
newsletter
started a
if you're already
newsletter
here.
called, I think it's so funny, and in my head, I'm laughing. I started like an audience building thing called The Community in a newsletter, and I'm laughing because it's not a community yet, but it's content, and it's a more organized way to speak to many people.
Yeah. And obviously now RevGenius has been around for a while. You've been, a persona in the community space for a while too. How would you describe like the current state of the RevGenius community as compared to when you first started and it was really just filling this gap in the go-to-market space?
So, it's an awesome question. So, like in the beginning, like we were the hottest thing. Like there wasn't anything like this. So, like we moved fast and ferociously, and like acquisition was really massive for me. It was like my North Star KPI. We all know that engagement's more important, but early on, like you could create a movement just from acquisition and fix all the other stuff next month and then focus on that. But since people realized starting a community, I'm not saying a good community, but launching a community is very low barrier to entry. You could open up a free Slack group, right, y'all? Like you could do it. And I'm not saying you're going to win at it, but you could put a lot of noise into the market. And a lot of folks did, and not just bad stuff, good stuff too. In the process, you had the space evolve. Like in the last 3 years in B2B, creators became a thing. Them launching courses became a thing. Certain people, like, so the space shifted, and it didn't shift, it evolved. So like the most active people in your community now wanted to run, who worked for a company now want to run their own company and have their own community. And it's kind of, um, it's interesting and it's positive because more people have more opportunities. So how do you evolve to like meet their needs or not? Or do you just say like, hey, like run and do your thing and like we're gonna do something else? It's the evolution has been awesome to watch. And if nothing, what I've realized more than anything of late is communities are replaceable. I gave one example where creators are coming.
Again, with a controversial statement.
I mean,
Yes.
there's 11,000 MarTech companies. They all want to market. A lot of them want a community element. Like, why go to one over the other? I said fill a gap, but like there might be a dozen people that fill a gap. Like FOMO is the biggest reason, at least in my small surveys, that people are joining communities. So, it's what else has evolved my thinking, and that word collaborate comes back in the sense that as community leaders, we need to have a stake in our members or our ecosystem, the humans in our world's success. And that's both extrinsic and intrinsic. And it can't just be one thing, and it can't just be something that we think is important. It needs to be something that they
100%.
think is important. And case in point, I reached out to be a part of an ambassador program recently, and somebody else. And one of the slides they had was all the perks you get, and like they resonated with me. And the next slide said, "My asks of you: nothing, nada, nunca," or like whatever. Like, and I'm like,
Oh, I love that.
fuck yeah. And you know what I did? I announced them on my LinkedIn. I added them, and I lean in harder there than anywhere. And I know we just watched a presentation with on the calendar, like this is ambassador, like all this. It's very tactical. That's how we're thinking. But when you're hitting extrinsic and intrinsic value as hard as you can, putting money in people's pockets, I hate to be so explicit like this, it is a big motivator, at least in a B2B world. Or getting somebody a job, getting them that mentor, like important steps. They're going to give back to you, I promise.
That's an excellent piece of advice for the audience. Well, didn't RevGenius just have RevCon like a week or two ago? A fantastic summit, if I may say so myself. I did attend. Are there any other like upcoming projects, events, or goals that you're excited about that you want to share with everyone listening?
I'm just so amped for RevCon, and thank you for the shout out. Like our team spent 2 to 3 months like hardcore putting it together, and then like another 2 to 3 months like preparing lightly, right? Like my team, which doesn't include me and our COO, it does technically, but our head of marketing, our head of content, all of them took the bull by the horns and drove the best RevCon ever. And giving that value at no cost to our members and like hitting like some of those values that I was saying was like so massive. What's coming up? Just other great content. We just dropped like a 90-page. I'm going to call it white paper because I was told ebooks aren't 90 pages on like strategic planning and a community member wrote it. We had some sponsors fund it, and it's out for free to members. So that's exciting and just more awesomeness.
We love free resources, don't we? As we're kind of coming towards the end of our session, I feel like, everyone wants to hear, what's your advice? Like if there's one piece of advice that you could offer, other community leaders who are maybe embarking on a similar journey or just starting out, what do you say to them? What's your advice?
My advice is start a movement with whatever community you're creating. When you have like that gap that's not being satisfied by the market, that like people really care about, people will rally, put passion behind it, and then be ferocious in asking people to join. That's the acquisition gate, and later it's not the most important. Engagement definitely is, but I truly believe early, getting people in the door and like following that movement will lead tons of growth, tons of everything, and tons of people being impacted in a positive way. And then second,
Literally 41,000 people, maybe.
yeah, I mean, we would have got more if I kept going on that metric. It's very hard to manually do it, and also do things that don't scale. We hear it all the time. In community, it couldn't be more important. I said that I launched a newsletter, jaredrobin.com. The first
Check it out.
first
It's good. I get it
500
every Saturday.
the first 500 subscribers, I asked one at a time. And the last 500, I emailed at scale, but like what I would typically do. So it
I
creates
think I
more of
was
that
one of
feel.
them.
100%, Ruthie. I probably asked you 3 times because I'm
Yeah.
insane.
I even got a Google Doc, like, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
Amazing, Jared. I cannot believe that our time is already up. Everyone, check this guy out. If you're not following him on LinkedIn, then like literally, what are you doing on LinkedIn? Check out RevGenius. It's obviously a bit more geared towards people working in revenue, like marketing, sales, etc. But it is a fantastic community. I'm a part of it, and there's always amazing stuff going on. So thank you so much, Jared. I'm sure there are questions for you in the chat that you'll probably have to answer after. But over to you, Vic. Thank you so much
I'm
for everyone
humbled.
tuning in.
Thank you so much for having me.